Silvan.
Hey. So sorry from the trenches. This has nothing to do with the Ukraine war. This is more when you want to dig a hole and disappear because you just screwed up big time. So, short background who I am. Funded OpenFactory in 2009. We expanded to Germany a year later. We're quite across Europe. We have a Finnish team now. I moved here just ahead of the pandemic, and yeah, you can see we're little dot over here to the right. So 2014, I managed to get my own lair, which was something I was back at that day always dreaming from. We got some own servers, we started to have some colocation, DSL, transit customers, and eventually, due to quite a bit of requests, we started to do a shitload of sponsorships. Now, sponsorships, why do we do this? I'm talking about PI sponsorships, ASN sponsorships. We're having a generation change. We're having lots of network engineers slowly going to leave the industry. And has IPv6 been fully successfully rolled out? In my opinion, not yet. Everyone who's new, a newcomer, hobbyist, they're not going to get IPv4. They're all growing up with IPv6 now, and we're kind of trying to make them having IPv6. So whoever sends us a request and we see that this is a possible use case, we give them an ASN through the standard process with RIPE NCC according to the rules, and we obviously also try to avoid that someone pollutes the 16-bit address space by saying, oh, I want a 16-bit ASN because it looks much cooler, and the lower your AS number is, it looks like you're an old-timer. It's just, yeah, so we don't do that. The whole thing with the sponsorships, it exploded a tiny bit when Hurricane Electric stopped giving those BGP tunnels. Suddenly we got like, I don't know, 10 times the requests. And yeah, so that shows up in our AS set. So the AS set obviously includes paying customer, includes free customers. Yeah. So what can you do to prevent stuff to go wrong? Well, at one point we were like, we don't think that people that get a free tunnel from us should be able to push their own AS set into it, because then we have no control whatsoever is in our AS set. There's still a few legacy people in it. So what else can you do to prevent that you pollute the global routing table? Well, prefix limits to downstreams, set it to exactly how much they should be announcing. Because if someone comes and they bring a /32 v6 and then they fully deaggregate, I think it would cause a global problem. So yeah, we still have a very high export limit. And obviously we don't do static export filters since we learned it the hard way, because if customer suddenly moves away from us and we have static exports, suddenly you're upstream of Hurricane Electric. I think we once did that by mistake, and suddenly there was like IPv6 connectivity between Cogent customers and Hurricane customers through us for some time. Only for some, but still, wasn't that good. Nobody complained. And yeah, so our incident. So one morning, I think it was morning, we get a ticket. Hey, our voice line doesn't work anymore. It's a German customer. So obviously you start to like, what's wrong? You notice the CPU load is quite high. We were using VIOS at that time on a Supermicro server in Frankfurt. You look at it and then, which process is this? It's PMACCTD. It uses quite a lot of CPU. Okay, seems to have crashed. Let's kill it. Customer's like, oh, you killed it. Perfectly fine again. Nothing happens. And then we get a ticket from Salesforce. Hey, you guys are leaking stuff. So apparently, we announced a route from Cloudflare through Hurricane, which is our upstream, to Salesforce. And we're like, we don't have a BGP session with Salesforce on this IXP. It was D6 Munich. And also, no, we're not there upstream, so that's also impossible. I mean, why would we announce a route from them to them? And I'm like, but that should go to the route server if we don't have a session. So what the hell goes wrong? So I go on and I send a ticket to D6 support. Hey guys, I think I need help here. Somehow there's something going completely wrong. In parallel, we start our investigation. So I check my AS set. Actually, Cloudflare is in there if you grab through it. So how the heck does that happen? Now, there's a really nice tool, IR Explorer. I think it's from NLNOG somewhere. If you have a really convoluted AS set like ours is, I mean, everyone can check it. It's the only way to find it because you have no chance. So we have it 4 levels down. So it's us. It's an actual paying customer from us, which is the rule that we allow them to have AS sets. Then we have their customer, which is a competing tunnel broker, and one of their free customers. So apparently that was allowed. And that customer put into their AS set all their peering as well. So this 4 level down ASN had a peering with Cloudflare, and we found it a good idea to put that into their AS set. Fair enough. That's a messed up filter, but still, we shouldn't export it. We have communities, right? So I look at the export. Well, we have a static filter list of our own prefixes because they should always be allowed. That's the stuff we originate, and it's actually quite annoying if you have to export tag that. And everything else is just a customer community that we strip on import. So that wouldn't happen. And even if we would have done that, we still generate filters by hand because automated filter generation for customers, not sure that's a nice thing. I remember one point where I messed up my AS set, and at 1:30 in the morning, Job called me, hey dude, you break our optimization with your AS set. So yeah, we didn't update anything. There was no ticket, no update done, nobody. So must be more broken. So fuck up number 1, the AS set. Fuck up number 2. We were using ViOS. ViOS at the 1.2 branch, when you have a large config, the commit takes, and I mean, this is a Xeon CPU, it's not a weak CPU, takes 20-30 minutes, and every 2-3 months the configuration gets corrupted because somewhere in the configuration there's parts missing because this software code that commits it is really, really wonky. So apparently a while ago we had to fix the export filter by practically taking configuration again and copy pasting it back in and deleting and committing until it was restored, and somewhere we didn't fully copy the export route map. So what happens? The route map on FR, yeah, there was no default reject deny anymore at the end of the route map. Well, that's bad. That's also why I advocate for sane default. If something's not permitted specifically, always make it deny. Please, software vendor, do that as a default. So yeah, we lost the deny statement and nobody noticed because so far we didn't leak anything. So from my opinion, the third thing, what would not have helped is the never via route server flag, because we leaked a route from Hurricane Electric and then Cloudflare. So that's bad. And Hurricane Electric, they don't have the never via route server set because they appear on route servers. Yeah, and you can see this AS path. So Salesforce, us, Hurricane, Cloudflare. Well, I don't know. Can we introduce some plausibility at the route server? That's something we have to see. That's something where I'll come back to in the end. And back at that time, I was wondering, why would the max prefix, because we leaked the full table to the route server. We checked it. We leaked the full table to the route server. Why did this thing not shut the session? I mean, because the route server ingests the routes and then pushes it into its own specific routing table, so we see whether your route gets rejected, so all the routes get accepted, and then through the pipe protocol gets pushed to another routing table. So one of the things would be nice to have a prefix limit on that level to kill it, because when someone leaks more than their supposed route table plus some margins, definitely something was wrong. So how can you prevent an incident like that in the future? From my point of view, yes, well, do not fuck up. Well, that's not really helpful. I mean, we can try our best, but sometimes stuff happens. Can we go for plausibility? I mean, there's this import-export that you set on your outnum, but not all RIRs have that, I think. So, yeah, that's still something. And so in the meantime, one of our interns from Obo Academy will actually start his master's thesis to come up with ideas to look at AS sets to see if there's a way to actually look if those paths are plausible, if this AS set has something wrong, and if yes, then deny the update. So yeah, one story from how we leaked the route and caused a major incident to the SaaS provider. Any questions on this?
Any questions?
Hi, I'm Job Snyders from the Internet Routing Police. You mentioned that you want to dedicate student resources to study whether we as an industry can improve. And I think help actually is needed by researchers because currently the IETF is looking at two proposals. One is called ASPA, which allows you to declare in an RPKI object who might appear on the left side of your own ASN in the AS path. And then secondly, there's AS clones, which allows you to publish which ASNs might appear on the right side of your own ASN. And I think it's not entirely clear which of the two approaches has the most benefit in the field, or maybe they should be combined in some way. And I would love for a student to take a really in-depth take at these two approaches and come up maybe with a recommendation of, hey, from an information theory perspective, this is recommended. So the student wouldn't need to worry about RPKI encoding, decoding. This is really about, I guess, graph theory and how that would work at scale. So please reach out to me if you want to connect the student and get the ball rolling.
Will do. He's actually watching the stream.
Hello?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Silvan.
Thank you.